So something happened while I was playing The Last of Us Part 2 that made me go from 100 miles an hour in terms of just being obsessed with it to not having touched the game for the last 2 weeks. Now, what is that something? Well, it's hidden right there behind that curtain, and I'll show you in just a second. Now, some of you might know I started the game. I thought it was beautiful, very well made. I was kind of cold to it because I didn't really like the first game that much, and I was led to believe that Last of Us Part 2 would be very stealthy, and I was like, yeah, it's not for me. And I'm so grateful to the audience of this stream and to these videos because they said, Jaffe, just stick with it. It's going to get better. You don't have to play it stealthy. You can level up your character in terms of searching and exploring and finding things that makes Ellie stronger. You can go in and have a little stealth, a little action. Just trust us. So I did. And they were right. You guys were right. Thank you. It's one of the best things I've played in a very long time. I love this game, but I don't want to go back and play it after this thing occurred. Here's how I know. 2 weeks without touching it, and it's not like I'm not in the mood to game. I've been playing a lot of games lately, but I cannot motivate myself to get back to The Last of Us. And I want to show you why. This, behind the curtain, is why I cannot play The Last of Us 2. Or I know I'll go back. I have to. I want to play it. I want to finish it, but I really don't. This is why I've lost interest, though. Let's just say that in The Last of Us 2. Here we go. Here we go. Boom. There it is right there. Look at that curtain. It's so lame. Doesn't matter. The point is, there you go. It's Abby. Now, let me be very clear about this. When I played Abby in the first part of the game, just for that little sequence where she's in the mountains, I think it was with Owen, I'm not sure, it's been a while. I thought she was cool. I liked her. I don't have a problem with her. I still don't have a problem with her. I like the character, okay? So I'm not one of these guys that's like, grr, Abby, I'm insecure and I don't fucking know what they're insecure in. I don't like her because she's too muscular and that threatens my own sense of masculinity. It's not a problem. I think the muscle thing makes sense. She's fucking trying to survive a pandemic. She saw this awful shit happen to her dad. She wants revenge. She's living in a goddamn training center for pro athletes where she is surrounded by weights and quite possibly lots of steroids. I think it's an interesting character. No issues with that at all. I got no issues with the fact that, here's a spoiler, get ready, spoiler, 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 that she kills Joel. I love that. I get it that a lot of people... Like, if you would have killed Nathan Drake at the beginning of Uncharted 4 or at all, you don't really do that. You don't kill a character, a main character in that. I mean, you can, it's interesting, but you usually don't because that's not what you sign up for when you play a game like Uncharted. But when you play a game like The Last of Us 1 or 2, it tells you pretty much on the box what it is. It is gritty, it is real, it is evoking shows like Walking Dead. It is evoking movies like The Mist and The Road. It is brutal. It is harsh. And in those other stories and other mediums, main characters come and go. That's one of the reasons it makes that world so dangerous and so compelling to watch. So I'm not walking around going, they killed Joel. I like Joel. It's like, that's not the kind of game this is. They killed Joel. I like that. I like the story. Of going, now you get to play as the daughter of the guy who got killed because Joel was really fucking selfish, and he was. I understand him, but I love that about this game. It is a deep, interesting, layered story, and I like that they let you play as that character. They don't just tell you about it, but suddenly you're playing as this character that you thought you were supposed to hate, and now you're like, no, I totally get it. Well, of course she'd be pissed off, right? So it's not that either. Abby represents a very big problem in The Last of Us Part 2, and it's a high wire act because Naughty Dog was trying to do two things at this point, and both of those things, when they introduce Abby, are incredibly risky and incredibly hard in and of themselves. You do both of them at the same time, and you're asking for players to disengage. Now, I'm not saying this is why people hate The Last of Us at all. This is a great game. I don't hate The Last of Us. I'm just telling you that I have lost interest in playing it. All right, so then what is it, Jaffe? What's the problem with Abby? Well, two things. The most important thing is gameplay, okay? I am here in the game right now. This is as far as I've gotten, and the minute I became Abby I was cool with it because I was enjoying the whole zebra thing with her dad and exploring and all that. I was like, okay, this is cool. But then they bring me to this Coliseum where I'm, just talking to people and walking around the mess hall and all this shit. And for all I know, this is going to change 2 minutes from now. But I've spent about 60 to 75 minutes now as this character. And the momentum of gameplay has ground to a halt. And that is a risk. And don't tell me the game designers didn't know that was going to happen, and they were willing for some reason to do it. Okay, like I said at the beginning of this video, I got into The Last of Us because people told me I didn't have to stealth my way through it, which I hate stealth for the most part. And so I was collecting, I was exploring, I was enjoying doing that and discovering the world. I was collecting the little superhero cards, for God's sakes, and enjoying that. I was reading the notes. All the notes are really interesting and well written. I was really invested in not so much Ellie as a character, although I was, but I was building my character. I did the puzzles of the anniversary, which opened the safe that gave me the second shotgun slot, and I got the 9mm extra slot, and I was crafting. I mean, I did all the fucking crafting and leveling up my character and all this shit. And there's a momentum that you build behind that. And suddenly you get to Abby, and you go to your inventory slot, and it's empty. There's no weapons, there's no experience, there's no level up that you've done. It is like playing 10, 20 hours, 15 hours in an RPG, building your character up, and then going, yeah, that's done. Now you're this brand new character, and you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I understand maybe it's metaphorical. It's meant to make you feel a certain way, blah, blah, blah. Fine. It made me feel like I've lost interest, okay? That's hard enough. Games do that sometimes. Castlevania did that. God of War 2 did that. But they did it at the beginning of the game before you had gotten used to it. Or they did it in such a way, or some games have done it in such a way where even if it's like a rogue game and you die and lose all your shit, the roguelite games, which are the ones that are more popular than the roguelike games, are the ones that at least allow you to carry something from your adventure that you failed into the next try. But this just takes it all and says, nope, fuck you. Now, again, for all I know, Abby, 5 steps behind this next door, she's going to discover a stash of weapons that one-to-one reflects what you had as Ellie. But I've gone 60 to 75 minutes without having knowledge that that's going to happen, and I'm deflated. Okay, the second part, and they're doing it both at the same time, is actually the story. I got to really like Ellie. I liked playing Ellie more than I liked playing Joel, which is one of the reasons I like this game more than the first game. I think she's a better written character. I like Joel when they're at the museum, when he's like the sidekick character or the NPC AI character. But playing Ellie and being in her world is much more interesting to me personally. It's subjective, of course, but through her eyes, I find that more compelling. I like her. She's interesting. She's layered. She's not just a simple cardboard cutout. And I really liked being with that character. Well, it's not that I have a problem if you're going to suddenly take that character away from me. I understand the sucker punch that comes with that. But you do that and you kill Jesse right there. You take away a character I like playing. You give me a new character that I don't dislike, but it absolutely just flattens you. And on its own, that would be enough. That would be fine. It would be challenging, but it's like, oh, this is interesting. I got to see where this is going. But you do that and you shove it together. You blend it with taking all your shit away, and you've just deflated the fuck out of players. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if this double whammy has been enough to push other people away. This is the most recognized in terms of awards and review scores game that has ever been made, from my last understanding of checking into this. I don't know if people were just willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if other people struggled to keep going, but they did, just because gamers have been conditioned, even when they're bored, well, I have to finish. It's this kind of sense of you have to complete something just because you started it, where I'm like, if I'm bored, I'm done. But I rarely saw this come up in the complaints. And to me, if I'm a fucking pro reviewer at one of these sites and I'm giving this thing 10 out of 10 and best game ever and all that, and you're not touching upon this, either means you liked this, which is fine, but I need to understand how somebody would like this double whammy of really punishing the player and taking what was engaging away from the player and saying, you get to start from scratch after playing for 15 hours. Or I'd go, why didn't you guys mention this? Now, I don't know. My gut tells me that I will come back to this game. My gut tells me that I will absolutely come back to it at some point, but there's, new shit has arrived, man. There's new stuff. That's how it works. And I don't have, the discipline, frankly, just to finish for the sake of finishing. So I'm sure people will tell me, Jaffe, just stick with it. It's going to get a lot better. It happened to me too. And I will trust you guys because I trusted you the first time and it ended up giving me one of my favorite games of the year, which is Last of Us 2. But boy, I'll tell you, I think this is a flaw in the game. It is, because even if at the end of the whole thing, you're able to look back and sort of retroactively analyze it and go, I know why they did that now. I can appreciate it maybe if they do that at a writing level or a meta game design level, but you are pushing people away. I don't know how this wasn't discussed and fixed, unless you're hearing this and going, it's not a problem for me, Jaffe. I fucking loved it. But anyway, there you go. That is why currently I cannot continue, or I'm not interested in continuing The Last of Us Part 2. It's because that lady right there, Abby, and it's got nothing to do with what she looks like. It's got nothing to do with the fact that she killed Joel. It has everything to do with the fact that she took the momentum in my engagement and she shat all over it and said, fuck you, we're starting from scratch. To which I say, Abby, you could probably take me in a fight, which that's potentially, there are moments where that's kind of exciting. Let me tell you, that may be why people don't like, guys who don't like Abby, because that really threatens them. That's a totally different video I could be making. The point is, she shit all over my engagement, Abby, old so-and-so. And in that, who knows if I'll come back to it. I'll see you. Have a good day. Bye.